on, and welcome to episode 4, I hope, of the All Directions podcast. I'm still really struggling with keeping up with the numbers right now, but I think that's just because of the host. Still getting used to switching over
I
to
haven't even hit the double digits
video.
yet.
No, but by that point, I think I'll just start jumping into my random throwing in numbers thing that I do.
Right,
So it'll be
right.
at like,
Well, last time it was 21.
actually, it's probably still at, no, it's 22 now.
22 now.
It's 22 now. But yeah, I think once we get up to like episode 10 and stuff, unless I really like do some full-on research the night before to make sure I'm up to date with my numbers, I'll just start throwing out random numbers. I'll be like, welcome to episode 100 of, and it'll be like, dude, we've only done, this is the 10th episode. I was like, episode 200 then, you know. So, but what you gonna do?
Run around in a circle claiming that you're a polar bear.
It's an inside joke, people. Not forever.
Yeah, not forever.
For now.
Maybe.
Let's see what he did.
Maybe we'll release it.
Not that you have enough room right now to run around screaming about polar bears.
I could always just do it in my mind. I've got plenty of space in there.
I thought you were going to say I could always just do it in my own time.
I could always do it in my own time too. Although, saying that, I don't exactly have a big bedroom myself.
No. Well, we'll just take you out to a field one day or something and
Okay.
let you run around for a bit.
Right.
Like a dog.
As long as I don't get leashed, that'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think we'll go that far. Unless it's for like something later on the line for like the channel or something. Which I can't see why we'd go in that direction. Despite going in all
Pretty much.
Yeah, I can't really picture us going down that route.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll let you run around on the field for a bit.
Okay.
You know, maybe throw a ball for you or something to catch.
That's just going a bit too far now.
You're getting a little offensive. Getting a bit too close to home.
A bit too close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
So, got a few topics today, guys. But we're not gonna list them off like usual. I think we'll just start up straight away with the very first one.
Yeah.
Mention that the brand new Assassin's Creed game has just come out.
It has.
Last Friday, I believe. IGN, get this. I don't have an opinion on this at the moment because I'm not far enough like through the game. I have like little to no time at the moment, so I like can only just barely manage to squeeze in like an hour worth of gameplay, maybe every other day or something. So it's going to take me a while before I can have a real opinion on this. But IGN, and do with this information what you will, I guess, is putting this at a 10 out of 10 rating, saying it's the best Assassin's Creed game ever. Now, I don't know if I'm going to go that far yet, but once again, I'm not that far through the game. For all I know, when I finish this game, it might be the best Assassin's Creed game ever. I hope it is, to be honest with you. I'm getting quite, not tired, but it would be nice to be able to say Assassin's Creed 2 is no longer the best. You know, because I think it's had that title for a bit too long now.
Right.
So, but from what I have seen of the game, or even played of the game, from the little bit of experience, it's actually very impressive.
By definition, you have seen it then.
I have seen it, but it's, you know, there's a difference. You know, I've like to have seen it. I've watched the E3 footage and the stuff they showed up to advertise the game. But to have actually experienced it, it's like a completely different thing altogether. You get a true feel for the game. Like, I remember the first time, you know, back when we looked at comments that were going around YouTube and stuff, back after E3 and the other game conventions that happened, you'd read a lot of comments about how the fighting looks awful and the climbing looks really bad, and it's completely different when you actually get to experience it for yourself. Now, personally, I never hated the fighting from what I saw of it in any of the stuff the game developer showed off, but it didn't give us a real feel for it. I didn't really know how it was actually going to feel once I tried it out myself. I can tell you right now, in all honesty, I think prior to this game, I think Unity actually had probably the best fighting mechanic, just because it wasn't simple button mashing. You actually had to put at least a little bit of thought into what you were doing. I think they've stepped it up again with Origins. I think Origins is that finalized version of the fighting mechanic. If you take what you had with Black Flag, which was very much the just button mash, you'll slaughter it. crowds worth of people around you. Unity was, in terms of fighting mechanic, was the stepping stone to getting to where Origins has, which actually makes us feel really unfortunate for Syndicate, because I just feel like Syndicate took a back step when it came to the fighting. They kind of went back to what like Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag did, and just the way the animations happened with the fighting system in Syndicate, it didn't really. I didn't get it. It was a bit too fast paced where it didn't quite look realistic. I think if they'd slowed the animations down like a tiny little bit, it would have been much more realistic. It would have still been button mashy, which is unfortunate compared to what Unity's fighting is. But Origins goes back to actually like, if you've got too many people surrounding you, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to make it out of this. Unless, of course, because there's a leveling system in Assassin's Creed now. Unless, of course, you're like, say, level 20 or 25 and you're going up against people that are level 3, then you can probably take out 100 of them. But even then, you might, depending on the archetypes that are actually fighting you, like if you've got archers and if you've got like swordsmen and the big brutes with giant ass shields, you might still struggle. But I know one thing I experienced, I think it was last week. I think I was like level 21 on it or something at this point, and there was a big brute character who was at one of the forts, and he was only level 17. Could I kill him? Nope. I think I had to resort to being stealthy around him because I couldn't take him on in an actual fight. So what I had to keep doing was wait until he lost sight of where I was. I'd be hidden up on like some building somewhere, and as soon as he'd walk past us, like be underneath us, I'd like jump on him and like stab him with the hidden blade, which would take off like 1/8 of his health. And so once I'd done that, I'd leg it again to hide so he couldn't find us.
Right.
And then when he ended up walking in my direction and was underneath us, I just kept doing that again and again and again. That was the only way I could actually kill him. Okay. But that's just because he was like a big brute character. He might as well have just been a boss, Yeah. But yeah, I've got to say, right now, what I've seen, I'm impressed, which I'm glad to say because I was concerned about this game. Everybody else was excited because the team developing this game is the same team behind Black Flag. Now, me, myself, personally, I'm not all that fond of Black Flag.
Yeah.
I think in itself as a game, it's a really good game. It's got a good story. It's got great gameplay mechanics.
But some great glitches.
I've actually seen some. I've never experienced the glitches, but I've seen them.
I almost experienced the I've experienced one major glitch, which was the ship ending up on land.
Right.
Which was weird because I fast traveled back to I forget the equivalent of Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean. Your main island where your homestead is basically. And I fast traveled back, and I didn't get the Davy Jones one, which is the one I was looking for, but I got the one where the ship just was in the water, and then all of a sudden on dry land.
Yeah.
I tried to go on the ship, but it wouldn't let me.
In fact, I do tell you, I have experienced one glitch in the game, and it wasn't as impressive as like all that stuff, like ending up on land, having the ship go up into the sky, or this giant hole in the ocean, but. What I think mine was just a simple case of I fell underneath the ship. I was on the ship. I don't even remember if it was my ship or the ship I was trying to board at the time. And I think I only had one guy left to kill or something to board the ship. But either way, fell through my ship, so I was stuck in the bottom section, swimming in the sea. And I could kind of see outside and just sort of see like some of the little border pieces of that made up the outside of the ship. I could kind of get my camera out to sort of see the outside. And at times it would let us do this tiny little climb up bit, which I thought I'd end up being able to get out. I was trying to try and see if I could dive under the water or something. I must have been stuck under there for like a good half an hour because I was like, I am not giving up on this boarding thing. I've nearly done it.
It wasn't against one of the legendary ships, was it?
It wasn't against the legendary. I don't think it was against the legendary. Might have been for all I know. It was a tough ship, and I don't usually struggle with that many. It was either against the Man of War or it was against one of the legendary ships. But either way, I was not starting it again. So I wasn't willing to fast travel or anything, and I obviously wasn't willing to turn the game off.
Yeah.
So I cannot remember. I think I was stuck there for like a good half an hour, and I have no idea how I managed to do it, but I did actually manage to finally get out and just climb up in time. But that's the only glitch I've actually experienced in Black Flag itself. But
Yeah.
I've seen some of the glitches that can occur in the
Oh, yeah.
game. And there's one weird thing. You know how in Black Flag you've got the cheats section? Obviously, if you've done enough of the Abstergo things, the
Yeah.
challenges. There's one where it does, like, I can't remember the exact description for it. It's got a funny name, and then it basically says, it's about to describe it, and it goes, well, you'll see for yourself. You turn it on, and you flick it on, and basically every pirate in the game, like whether it's like your crew or the enemy's crew, I think it might just be the enemy's crew actually. They all turn into raven rabbits.
What?
Yeah.
Really? Oh no. Oh no.
I was like, oh my goodness.
No.
I know.
I'm glad I didn't get that far with the cheats.
Yeah, man.
I think the only cheat that I can legitimately say that I ever used was the hurricane cheat, big waves and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'd put my headphones in, listen to Pirates of the Caribbean themes.
I think what was it? I remember back when I was going back to play the game recently, several months ago. I was like, I never felt like there was enough like storms in the ocean when I was playing that game.
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing. And then when I went back to play it, pretty much every time I was on my ship, I'd end up getting a storm when I was passing through like certain areas. And honestly, I think the reason I probably could never turn that cheat on just because the storms just started to irritate the shit out of us, because I just wanted to get to my destination. I like to not fast travel if I can. I like to do the whole legit, like actually going full on to your destination.
Yeah.
And you can't fast travel. Sorry, not fast travel. You can't like do the animus speed up with the ship when you're in the middle of a storm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is irritating. It also really irritates us when the same thing happens. Like if I've got one of the shanties playing and it's one I like, and then a whale pops up somewhere or a storm starts and everyone stops singing that song, and then I've got to like flick through all the shanties again until they get to the bloody one I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately I think Black Flag, especially as a pirate game, it's generally a really good game.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of a shit Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
You know, it's I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on camera, but I think it's kind of a game that's embarrassed to be an Assassin's Creed game, and it just wants to be a pirate game, and it sort of had to force the Assassin's Creed elements into it. So, I think this, because I love Rogue, and Rogue has the exact same gameplay as Black Flag, but the story is so quintessential to like lore and canon of Assassin's Creed, whereas Black Flag's isn't. And so for me, Rogue is this amazing game, and Black Flag's a bit especially when I'm like, if I'm trying to do like a marathon through all the Assassin's Creed games, Black Flag's always ends up being the one I enjoy the least. So I was a bit nervous when it came to Origins, just because it's the same team behind it. So I understand why everyone else was super excited, because they loved the last game they made. But for me, I was like, oh, I just hope it's really like assassin focused. And despite the fact that obviously the part of the game I'm in right now, I wouldn't say assassins don't exist, but the assassins as we know them, as in like with a brotherhood and everything, they don't exist. So despite the fact that hasn't, like, nothing assassin-y has really happened yet, I already can tell that it's gonna have like a really focused story on this kind of stuff. We might go into a tiny bit of spoiler territory in terms of what I've done so far in the game. I'm not gonna like hop on about it for too long, so if you just want to like jump further ahead in the video, you can skip this whole section. But yeah, so one of the interesting things is, and I don't want to spoil too much for you, but there's basically a door that you're introduced to in a part of the story of the game, and I'll not tell you the context as to why you're introduced to that door, but I went back because I didn't get a full like grasp of what was actually on that said door. It's basically a vault. And I didn't actually see what image was on
like
that.
Altair's vault.
Like, you know, like the first civilization vaults and stuff. I didn't get a full grasp of what was actually on there to begin with, so I actually went back to the area and accidentally found the vault door again. And the image that's on it is actually one of the images that Minerva shows Ezio back in Assassin's Creed 2 when she's explaining to him that he needs to find these several temples,
Right.
so that Desmond can basically save the Earth from the burning sun. So that tells me right away there's going to be something significant in terms of like the first Civ and how they're going to get involved. I imagine Juno's going to be involved in something somehow. But it's interesting because it looks like it's going to sort of harken back to some of the older stuff, and we might. I don't know how, but I'm kind of hoping maybe we do end up getting some answers that we still have questions to from like the early games that still haven't been answered to this day. Modern day is back, which I'm chuffed about, and it's pretty much the modern day we wanted. Maybe not in the exact context we were asking for, because obviously most people just like want to be assassins again in the modern day. But you are with Abstergo in this one. The character, although was surprising at first, because obviously they never talked about it. They kept it secret, which at the end of the day, I'm glad they did. I'm glad they never talked about the modern day, because it kept that whole mystery thing, like, are they going to have a modern day or they're not? And even though you said everyone's going to be happy, which is basically a giveaway to say we're getting the modern day we want, I'm still glad they never went into any detail about it. But after like 2 moments in the modern day area, I already really like the character, and I'm interested about the area that she's currently exploring. So honestly, right now, and like, I mean, I don't really know what else I can say without sounding like I'm just completely biased towards this game and have no critiques towards it.
I think you're biased towards the franchise rather than the
I'm
game.
very much biased towards the franchise, but as you've just seen with me talking about Black Flag, I'm not afraid to be critical about it. I do have problems with several of the games. There's lots, like, for example, you just heard us praise Unity, and I actually like Unity more than most people, but it's still like riddled with issues. It's a much better game today than it was back when it was first released, despite the fact I didn't experience pretty much any of the problems of the game, other than like frame rate drops. That was the worst I'd ever got for me. Today, Unity is a much better game just because they've patched it all up, but it still has a lot of problems, and I'm not afraid to say that it has a lot of problems. So, but like I said, I've not experienced an insane amount of Origins yet, so there's not a lot I can critique about it. I think the most I've got to complain about is I'm a little sad that they got rid of the database system in the game, because it would be nice to sort of, once again, they probably don't have many like records on it or whatever, but it would have been nice just to sort of get a bit of context for some of the areas, some of the characters, in case you just want to read up a bit more about them. Now, I know you could, well, just go on the bloody internet and look them up, but I was like, I want to know about them in Assassin's Creed lore, so, because I didn't read everything in a database, but characters I was interested in, I always had a quick look at and skimmed through what it had to say. So I was a little sad that was gone. But I think one of the reasons they've removed that is the same reason there's like a blank space on the start menu of the game. And I think it's because they're doing that tour thing that they're going to introduce later in the year, or the beginning of next year, which is basically where there is no fighting whatsoever. There's no gore, no nothing in the game. You literally just walk around, and you can pretty much be any of the characters in the game. So you can walk around as Bayek, as his wife. You can go around as Cleopatra, Julius Caesar, and you basically just get a tour, and it's like an educational lesson about stuff that went on in Egypt. So you can walk around basically as Cleopatra and get a tour explaining how mummification worked. And so they're doing that just for us, just so that and it's free as well. It's going to be a free update or something. And they're doing that basically for us so that we can get that context and a better understanding of Egypt, but also because like they're aware that a lot of schools actually use Assassin's Creed to help encourage children to learn about time periods and stuff.
I don't know if that's actually a good idea.
Well, it is, because regular history lessons weren't always the most interesting thing. If you had a good teacher could make it interesting, but a lot of teachers failed to do that. If you have a video game franchise, it might not be 100% accurate, granted, but if it gets the person interested in that time period and wants to learn about that time period, then you've done your job as a tutor to get them interested in that part of history. So basically, that's what this tour thing is for, is so that schools have a basically unage restricted version of the game that they can allow children to play, so that they can learn about stuff in ancient Egypt. And it's not going to be like super heavy in Assassin's Creed lore. It's going to be more about just literally stuff that went on in ancient Egypt, like how mummification worked. And that's the main one they've talked about, so I can't really like go into a super load of detail. But I think that might be the reason why they've removed the database mechanic from the game. But yeah, as I said, other than complaining about the database, I don't really know how much I can say about the game because I've not experienced enough of it. I've probably done like maybe I don't even think I've done 10 hours on it, to be honest with you. But I'm still pretty much at the very beginning of that game, so I just don't have an actual opinion. We might bring it up again at some point once both we've got some better context of the game and can actually talk full on conversation about it.
I will say this, and I was really surprised when I found out, but on Steam, it's actually I can't give you American prices, but it's $44.99.
Really?
For a new game.
Wow.
Especially Assassin's Creed.
I would have at least expected that to be in the 50 mark.
I expected the 60s considering games these days, especially AAA titles.
Well, I'm pretty sure you get if you just want the regular base version of Origins, I'm sure you can get it for like 47 to 50 quid. And then it's usually like the more special edition versions that go past the 50 mark. But still, I mean, the low end of 40, that's impressive.
Pretty good.
That's
well
a
done.
Decent deal, assuming that it's been ported over well.
I think they usually do the ports separately. I know it's a console-based game, but no, they don't. So it's the same. It was the same case with which Batman game was it again that was really bad upon release?
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight. No, I was going to say I think they do the PC version separately from the console version, but I don't think that's actually the case. Although what this really should do is develop it for the Xbox One first, then the PS3, because the Xbox One does still run on Windows 10.
Yeah.
So that would have helped, I reckon.
Well, it's hard to say whether or not it's... I think they've showed enough confidence in the game to say that, we believe all the versions of the game that we're releasing is going to be good and that there isn't going to be any problems upon release. And I think it's hard to judge because sometimes when a PC version of a game gets released at the same time as the console versions, it ends up being really janky and bad.
Yeah.
But there's other times when the PC version gets really delayed, it ends up coming out horrible. So I just think if you mix in the fact that it came out around about the same time and the level of confidence that they've shown, especially since this Assassin's Creed has been so heavily kind of sponsored by Microsoft, if you will, I think we should be safe to assume that it's going to run very well on a PC. So, but yeah, I think once again going to get a much better Assassin experience off of this game from this development team, unlike the last one, which was very much a pirate experience. And there is actually a pirate game that we wanted to talk about for quite some time now, and we've not gotten around to it.
Since E3.
Yeah, so if you look at basically whatever the stamp date is for when we uploaded the Talking E3 episode of the podcast, the audio-only podcast.
5 months ago?
Probably, it's like somewhere between 3 to 5 months ago. We want to be... The one topic we never got around to talking about was Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the ones we wanted to talk about the most, but we thought we'd save it towards the end because we thought we're going to have lots of time to talk about it. That didn't quite turn out to be the case. But yeah, from what little you remember of it, what was your first impressions then back when you saw that at E3?
Looks good. It's very stylistic, quite cartoony. If I draw a comparison, I'd say it looks like that recent game that came out where you build like a home base and then defend against zombies. What's that called?
Are you on about 7 days? 7 days to die.
7 days, yeah. Go out and collect materials. And, So it's kind of got like a 7 days to die vibe visually.
I mean, 7 days to die is not that cartoony.
Well, I mean, unless I'm thinking of another
Sea
game.
of Thieves is very cartoony.
Yeah.
It's like exaggeratedly cartoony.
Wait, I've got a better. It's like, it's not Ark. It's another one. It's like Rust.
Right.
Better. That's the best comparison I think I can put out because it's got the weird like shape. It's got your weird shape characters that I think you can customize. If I'm remembering that correctly. I believe I saw like a guy with really broad shoulders and really small legs.
Oh,
Sure, I
maybe,
did.
maybe.
But yeah, it looks good. It's very
I guess
stylistic.
since it's an online game, you've actually got a very high
Yeah,
chance that it's very much customizable
yeah.
characters, where you can
Hopefully, I mean,
most likely, I would think.
I wouldn't really mind if it turns out that you just get a predetermined character model, but yeah, that would be a nice addition.
I think your main concern about this game was the worry that you didn't actually control your ship.
Yeah. From the look of when we were looking at the 3 footage, it didn't actually show the ship. Well, it did show the ship moving because you could basically tell your ship to come and get you and stuff.
Well, here's so if I put context around what actually happened in the scene, I think this should sort of alleviate a bit of their worry. The scene you're talking about, where basically it looked like they just fast traveled to a different location. Now, it might be possible that fast travel is genuinely a thing in the game, but because I think for as cartoony and exaggerated as they're going for, I think they're also going for an element of realism with it, in terms of everyone's got a job to do on the ship. How you look at your map, the fact like the way another player shows you the map, which I thought was really cool when they showed that off. The teamwork and all that kind of stuff. So they're going for like a very fun but partially realistic tone, vibe with the game. But I think what happened in terms of the travel, personally, I think they cut out the whole travel section because they didn't want their audience to be sat there for half an hour just watching the ship move.
Well, I mean, even if it
They
looked,
could have dedicated a completely separate piece of footage to that, in terms of actually showing everyone doing the job to make sure the ship works and actually travels to its destination. Because there's like sails and everything that they've got to put down. There's probably the anchor that they've got to take up, all that kind of stuff, which would be nice to show, but they wouldn't have had time for it in that one like half an hour slot that they had. Probably 20 minutes, but I'll round it up to half an hour. But I think what does prove that it is possible to actually control your ship fully is the person that was on the island when he basically told the ship to move. That wasn't like an automatic AI thing of the ship automatically moving. He still had one of his teammates, an actual player, still on board of the ship. And so obviously, because players can just talk to each other over the chat, he basically told that player to move the ship to another location. So the person basically started the ship. I say started the ship like a bloody rev the engine or something. But yeah, so the person basically moved the ship. So I think that basically confirms that you have the ability to control the ship and actually move it. But I have no idea how big the map is for this game.
yeah,
Assuming it's big, which I imagine it is if it's a full-on pirate game that's all about exploration, I imagine there's going to be a fast travel element.
Yeah.
Personally, I think in terms of that looking at the map thing, which I think they just did a cut for, I think the map is probably how you set like a waypoint for where you want, so your entire team knows where you want to go. But it might be possible, it's probably a good chance that also will enact as a fast travel system, where you'll get to just select a location. You can either put a waypoint down, or you can just fast travel your entire team to that area.
I don't know if I'd look forward to a fast travel system of any sort.
I think if I'm playing that kind of game, I want to experience the full thing.
Yeah.
Especially if it really is the case where everybody has a job to do on that ship in order to keep that ship going. I'd want to experience the journey there. I'd always be like, nope, no fast traveling.
Yeah.
Let's keep this like realistic kind of thing. Everyone doing their job. No easy rides.
There's a couple of questions. Did it, because my memory's bad, did it have a health, not a health system, a food and water system? Or a hunger and thirst system, rather?
Not in the footage we showed. And honestly, I kind of doubt that the game will have it to begin with. I don't really think it's a survival type game. I think it is more just be a pirate, go out and explore, do the whole treasure hunt stuff. It might be a bit too much if they implemented the food and water.
I don't think so, because then you could introduce things like raiding and actually give it a proper purpose. Which
I don't think it would be a horrible thing to add into the game. I'm just like trying to justify reasons for why it might not be in the game. Once again, we haven't actually really watched any full footage for this game since E3. I think we might have done it once back when I can't even remember what's the name of the other gaming convention that happens after E3, like several months.
Comic-Con?
That's not a gaming convention.
But they do show games off.
They show some games off, but it's not a gaming convention.
E3.
It's not PAX.
It's not PAX.
No, I don't think so.
It's happened again.
It's not. I cannot remember the name of it. Bloody hell!
It's that convention.
It's like Gamescom. Gamescom.
Games-
Is it? It's Gamescom.
Right.
I think it's Gamescom. I'm sure it is. Shut up about your neck, man. Bloody hell! Every day.
It's happened every time this podcast.
It's happened every day of this week.
Not every day of this week.
Every day of this
It's only
week.
happened twice this week.
3 times.
Twice.
3
A lady.
times. Okay. I completely lost track. Yeah, Gamescom. We might have watched a tiny bit of footage from there,
Yeah.
but I think the main one that sticks in my head is the one from E3.
Yeah.
So once again, they might have changed stuff
Maybe.
from the game since the last time they showed it. So they might have added an extra like survival element into it, or we might just not have spotted that was a survival element in the first place. So no, I don't know if that stuff's involved. I don't think that stuff needs to be involved. I think it'll be a nice extra just to sort of add a bit, fill the game out a bit more.
Yeah.
So you've got something else to worry about on top of all that stuff. You know, if you've got like an entire crew of people and you have to feed them all essentially.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure they're all fed.
Yeah.
If you're going to be like a good captain.
Got to
and
prevent
stuff.
scurvy.
I don't know if they're gonna how much they'll go into like disease and stuff.
I think they should, because the only gripe I really have about the visuals is all the pirates look really clean.
Yeah.
And pirates are actually supposed to be...
They're surrounded with like by water, dude. They have like baths
No,
every day.
But, well, no,
Baths for days, man.
do not.
Yeah, they do.
Pirates were known for being one of the smelliest things to be on the seven seas.
Pirates weren't actually that
And
bad.
and pirates were well known for being... I was going to say tramps, but it's not the correct one.
No, another word. Pirates were actually very clean.
They were supposed to be like the poor people of the seas.
No,
Yeah.
pirates were very strict about the health and everything because they need to make sure everyone on the crew actually did their jobs properly.
Well, yeah.
So,
Doesn't mean they went poor.
well, actually,
Doesn't mean that they had good hygiene.
Actually, they weren't poor.
Right.
Just many of them didn't make it out to actually keep their money. Many of them have ended up dead. But they had money.
Unless they joined the East India Company.
It wasn't their money,
Hmm.
but they had money. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to scruff it up a bit. It kind of fits the tone of the game.
It fits the tone of the game. I don't know whether they're going for like just an experience or how much realism they want in the game, because that isn't exactly explained where the game's actually going to go.
I mean, plus if it's gonna be like a full-on, practically an MMO kind of thing, there's gonna be non-stop updates for it all the time. So new features could get added to that game.
Yeah.
To change stuff. So if you want a dirtier, scruffier looking character, you'll probably one day be able to have a scruffier looking character. Or if you like to be really clean all the time, you're a bit of a neat freak or whatever, and you can't stand dirt. There's probably many pirates out there who just could not stand dirt and hated the thought of it.
I was going to say maybe Blackbeard is a potential, but I mean he lit incense inside of his.
He covered like
bread.
his hair in like fucking ash and everything. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't. I don't think he cared too much about whether or not he was spick and span.
Oh, I do have a little bit of information from Sea of Thieves. I believe it's going on right now, you can enter the beta or the alpha for the game. And if you do get in, I'll probably have to look up the information again. But I think that you get to play with some of the devs.
I think from what we read about that, it does kind of sound like that. I think that's probably just to get a good feedback experience. They can.
Unless the game is more complex than that, egging on.
Well, it might be once again. It's months. I mean, E3 was months and months and months ago. You know, it was back pretty much before summer hit. It was like back in April or something. So we've got no clue what they've added to the game at this point, you know. And even then, the stuff they showed at E3 might have still been dated stuff from what they actually had at that point, because they'd have had to make an actual like separate demo months beforehand to show off at E3, and the game itself will have been improved like by a mile since that point anyway.
Yeah.
on top of now, the time that's passed between E3 and now.
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't got a clue how much they've actually added into that game further. But yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting. I think that's really good for feedback in terms of for the devs to get a good idea of how the game plays, any problems that. I mean, there's no better way of really knowing if other players are experiencing problems than if you're playing the game with said players. You probably not get to play with them 24/7. I don't think they've quite got that time on their hands. You know, they've got a game to make.
I think it'll just be like something to just pop into your game now and then.
It'll be like, you know, like a typical, like when an admin joins a room or something. They don't stay in there forever. They just pop in and out to keep checking that things are running smoothly. So, yeah, I mean, you know, they'll probably have like a dedicated. I don't know how big the team is actually. If it's a big team, which I don't think it is, then they'll have a dedicated team who keep going on and off the server and keep playing the game. If it's a small team, they'll just probably have someone, every like random member of the game staff, occasionally going on the game to see how everything's running.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to actually get a chance to check that game. I will have to look more into that game again at some point, see if there's any like major update in terms of like not improvements, but just extras that they've added to the game. See how further along it is now.
Even better if we get
it's still quite a way off in terms of actually being released. Because there's a couple of sources that say the game's being released at the end of this year, which it's not. And then there's like every other source which is saying that it's getting released sometime next year.
I hope next year. I hope they're not rushing it.
In so like roundabout between like the beginning and middle of next year, I think is roundabout the expected time for when the game is going to get released. He's tired, people.
I am.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of sleep. I'm really tired.
Well, deal with it.
I can't. The devil isn't here right now.
Well, is there anything else that we're forgetting to mention? I think we wanted to give props to the narrator. That was one thing we wanted to do.
Great. Yeah.
He really made it an entertaining thing to watch.
He's not quite a Stephen Fry.
He's not. But I think if Stephen Fry had been narrating that, there would have been a completely different video.
Yeah.
So I think
although Stephen has already narrated for a game, which was in The Big Planet.
Yeah, and I don't like that game all that much.
Really?
So, no.
I don't think I like the single player stuff, but I think I played a little bit.
I've seen some of the multiplayer stuff, but I'd already made my mind up about that game at that point, so I never really bothered going on it. I got bored during the single player stuff, so I never bothered with the games that followed it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I think if Stephen Fry had been the one narrating it, I think it would have been a completely different experience in terms of watching the game. So I think it was probably better that Stephen Fry wasn't the one narrating it, because I don't think his tone is different from the tone of that narrator. But I think whoever they did get was perfect for that. The tone that they were going for, and the way things were timed, and the way he acknowledged it. It wasn't like trying to take it dead seriously. He was like, we're acknowledging this as a game, people. You know, it uses game mechanics.
Yeah.
And, this isn't the real world. So, yeah, we have to give props out to him. So, another thing I wonder, since we're talking about food and drink, you know, is stuff like alcohol and all that going to be involved in the game? Not like full on like concocting it, but you know, the whole like one thing being like rum was a good objective trade, if you will, for money.
Spice too.
Well, yeah, spice, sugar, all that kind of stuff. But since pirates are typically thought of as just being drunks, not actually true, but they're typically thought of as being drunks.
I think they usually get drunk when they get back to port. That's because they've been at sea for so long.
Which is probably why it was closer to the natural assumption. But yeah, I'm just like, because that could make for an interesting game mechanic. I don't know, say whoever the guy is that's sailing your ship, if he's like wasted or something in the game because he's just like downed a keg of rum or something, in like your bloody ship's like swinging and everything because he can't quite control it properly, then you've actually got to like look out for where you're going, because we don't even know if the ship, I mean, the ship can take like cannon fire and everything, but we don't know if the ship takes actual damage. Like, can the ship be destroyed? Do you have to repair the ship? So it'd be interesting if there was like a sort of drunk system in the game. If you drunk too much, and the actual person sailing the ships could accidentally like crash into some rocks or something, or accidentally go onto land, and you'd be like, "You fucking idiot."
Although I do think if the ship can actually like break and get holes in the ship, I think you should have a mechanic in there where you just chop down some trees and put it back on the ship.
Now you're going into like really super survival territory.
No, I'm not going down the lines of like, oh, the ship literally breaks apart and you have to make a new ship.
I'm just more referring to the whole like going up, finding trees to chop down, just so that you can gather wood and then repair your ship by that means. I don't know how else you would do it unless you just go to like a trade post or something and buy the wood to do it yourself.
I wouldn't mind that either.
But I think if you go into like the whole lines of actually chopping down trees and everything, that's just going super survival, and I don't think that's what the game wants to be. It's more about the exploration and the teamwork than it is about looking out for yourself. I think if it's a pure survival game or has too many survival elements, you're going to be too focused on looking out for yourself as opposed to like everyone around you. Whereas if there's just maybe a couple of survival elements in the game, you can be more focused about you and your team and looking after your team. Enough survival elements so that you care whether or not, you know, your team's going to get killed or something, or your ship's going to take damage. But not so many that you like, fuck my crew. You know, I want to live.
Well, then you'll just get left on the island and the crew will boycott you.
So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it looked like a genuinely interesting game. And I think those will be several interesting mechanics if they added it to the game. So, yeah. I think the final topic we want to talk about, which I've briefly mentioned by talking about game mechanics in the game. I don't know if you could tell, but it was a slight forced segue, but still relevant. It's not really a segue if you mention that it's a segue, but because you kind of split it by doing that. Either way.
It was a thing.
Was that? That's tired, Chris, for you.
Well, how else am I going to describe it apart from segue? It was a transition.
It was a motormobile.
Excuse me?
It was I don't know, you could have said it was a tricycle.
You could have said it transformed.
Well, it didn't really transform.
It didn't transform very well.
No, not very well.
It's partially stuck still in the chrysalis.
Well, you know, we're still in that sort of evolutional phase from getting from that one point A to point B. You know? So
maybe we should just combine.
So we're in segue limbo.
Segue limbo.
There's probably a better term for that.
We've hit those doldrums.
We've hit those walls. Because we're drunk.
We're going to have to break the walls down.
I couldn't see where we're going. Well, we can't do that now because after walking to the wall, we've got to watch out for getting concussion.
Right.
On top of the fact that we're wasted as well.
Right.
We can't do it tomorrow.
I'm saying we're wasted.
Well, yeah, if we
right
walked
now.
into a wall,
right,
then we must be wasted.
Right.
We can't do it tomorrow because we're gonna have a massive hangover.
Okay. Wait, you're gonna have a hangover? I don't get hangovers.
Not if I pour the drinks down your schneck.
Depends how strong the drink is.
Very.
I'm not going to get drunk anytime fast.
Yes,
it's the weak drunk. It's the weak drunks that get me.
It's the weak drunks that get me.
Those little buggers.
Just creep me out.
just ever so slightly. They just come up to you and stop biting your ankle and get the fuck off. Get off. Ow. And obviously, there's one inside my spine right now.
I'll start you off on the strong stuff. And then I'll move you over slowly to the weaker drink.
Right.
Or drunks, whatever you prefer.
Strong drunks, I can handle no problem. Weak drunks, they're just awful people.
I don't know, we'll finish you off on like bloody woodpecker or something. Unless you want to get weaker than that.
Had woodpecker. I think the weakest drink I've had is WKD. It takes us a couple of bottles, but it's the same case where a weak drink will get me drunk quicker.
Fine then, okay, we'll start you off on the strong stuff.
Right.
And then we'll finish you off with like 10 bottles of WKD.
We could go even weaker and just get the the really weak shandy.
I didn't even think of shandy.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
And we'll add we'll pour more lemonade into it so that it's like really watered down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that you'll be flat on your ass after
Oh, would
one
be.
cup.
Yes, exactly.
One glass.
Just one glass of lemonade with like an atom's worth of alcohol.
Yeah. So,
No, in fact, that would kill me. It's like the thing. It's like I don't know. It's like when you have a really strong drink, it's like all the alcohol molecules are like they're really friendly to each other and stuff. But when they're by themselves, you know, they get really depressive and really irritated. Irritable.
Irritable.
So as soon as I drink that, they just kill me immediately.
Attack.
I'm dead.
You left me on my own. We've I don't know. I think we've got you relatively tipsy with some of the weird stuff that we've made before in the past.
While, though.
It took a while. It probably.
And I didn't get as drunk as you got.
No, you didn't get as drunk as I got, but you got drunk enough to fall asleep standing up with the front door open.
Yeah, true. And on stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was probably as the drink and everything else had literally like separated from each other.
Yeah.
Inside your stomach.
So I was also dying of poisoning. Alcohol poisoning, just regular food poisoning.
Yeah, probably. I mean, what? Because we tried just regular drinks at the beginning. We even tried one of the drinks Robert brought over, and then we decided that we're going to start mixing stuff because I'd gotten like several different stuff into the fridge.
Yeah.
And we thought, oh well,
No. We originally went out with the intention to get things to mix.
No. Because before you ever arrived, I'd already went to the shops and picked up like 10 bottles of different stuff. And that was all sitting in the fridge ready for everyone when they came over. And so after we'd had like a few bottles of just like regular stuff, like Robert's Desperados and whatever else, because I can't even remember the other stuff we had. It's just the Desperados that sticks in my head. But I think we might have had a couple glasses of Jack.
Yeah.
And then we decided that we'd actually start trying to mix stuff. Because I told you about the time that a couple of my friends had like, what was it? Like a White Russian or something. And so we decided to try and make our own version out with a different... Because I told you the story about the time myself and a friend Carl actually tried to make a Black Russian, which... Black Russian actually exists, but not in the form that we tried to make it. So basically, what we just did is I think we poured... I don't remember what drink we had on at the time. It was either just a whiskey or Jack itself. But I think we poured that into a glass. And I'm sure, instead of putting like milk or whatever with it, we'll put Mars milk with it. So it was like a chocolate milk.
Right.
And... as I remember correctly, it started out with Carl loved it at first, and I thought it was fucking disgusting. But I forced myself to drink it, and the more we drank, the more he liked it less, and the more I started to like it more. To the point where I probably nearly finished mine because they were like really big glasses when I had them in anyway, and I don't think Carl even made it halfway through his. Either way, we were fucking off our heads by the end of the night. Probably just left them on my bench when he left, and when he came back the next day, we looked at them, and you had like, I think you had the whiskey on the bottom. There might have even been Coke in there as well on top of that.
God. You do not, under any circumstances, mix your dairy with Coke ever.
It was either it wouldn't have been Lucozade Orange, so it must have definitely been Coke. So I think you had the whiskey on the bottom. I think the Coke had even separated from the whiskey. You had the Coke in the middle, and the milk was sat on the top.
Was it curdled?
And yes, very much so curdled. I mean, if you give it a bit of a shake or a stir or something,
No.
it would start to mix back up.
No. That curdled milk isn't going to dissolve
I
anymore.
actually did that at one point, and like after it'd been sitting there for a day or something, because I was about to just chuck it, and I was like, I wonder if I can convince anyone to drink it.
Right.
So I went round like the rest of my flatmates and asked them if they wanted a drink. I didn't get any takers, unfortunately, but that's what started off the idea for us trying to make whatever the hell we made. It's been that long now that I can't even remember what the concoction was made out of. I know there was, all I remember was double cream. I remember there was double cream in it. No, that's all I remember.
Double cream, cheap lime vodka.
Right.
There was something else. There was something else. I think lemonade.
Was it lemonade?
It was either lemonade or it was either regular lemonade. It was either regular lemonade or it was either regular lemonade, Sprite, or gin.
See, I don't think it was either. Just because I remember the drink being very dark.
No, I remember it being very white.
Yeah, it was not white.
It was white.
It wasn't white.
It turned extremely white, especially later on.
It had like a very sort of, like, as if a sandstorm had just finished inside a glass of Coke.
Yeah, that's what it looked like later on.
Yeah. Because that's what it looked like when I started offering it to other people, and that's after we just made one of the glasses. Russian? Yeah, no, not the Black Russian, the one we made.
The one we made.
The one we made.
You don't want to say the name.
You can say.
It's called the Russian sperm.
It's the Russian sperm is what we called it because of obviously the cream on the top, and it was made under the same
conditions as Russians are made.
I was going to say conditions, which should have made more sense with the name. Conditions, as the previous Black Russian had been mixed with a hint of White Russian at the same time. So I think we'd heard like a funny joke about. I think we also had looked, like when we're looking at different mixtures of drinks that we could do. There was just one that was called. It was either called like sperm shot or something else along those lines.
Sex on the beach?
It wasn't sex on the beach. No, it literally used the word sperm, which is why we ended up calling ours the Russian sperm, because we sort of mixed the two ideas of doing a White Russian with this whole like sperm titled drink, which I don't remember what it actually consisted of.
Right. But I definitely remember. Cheap lime vodka.
Yes, we definitely had that in it. Yeah. Guarantee you that. But I do think Coke was involved in that drink because it was a dark drink.
I don't remember it being dark.
It was definitely a dark drink, and I remember that. It was the cream was what gave it that sort of like almost sandstorm kind of look, because you could it was like as if it dispersed into the drink, into like little cream particles.
Well, yeah, that's what it looked like later on.
But no, that's like what it looked like 10 minutes after it was made.
No, because that might have what your drink looked like. No,
because I intentionally, like, when I went round trying, seeing if anyone else wanted it, the only other person that said that to try it was Adam, because I was like, we made a really good concoction. And he said, yeah, I'll give it a try. And I gave it to him.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Because I finished it off with like a full-on stir and everything, and so like the cream had basically dispersed into the cream particles, and it was like this dark, like brown sandstorm kind of thing that was going on the inside. But I mean, we tried other stuff. I think that also involved. I think we did try one that was very light in color, but that wasn't. I don't think we ever got around to giving that a name. But yeah, either way, it didn't quite end so well for us. That night, I ended up knocked out within like...
You ended up spewing that night.
I was spewing that night. I was knocked out probably no less than 2 hours after having drank.
You were literally knocked out. I tried to wake you up,
out,
and you didn't even remember that.
Out. nothing woke me up like pretty much for the majority of that night. And then you fell asleep at the front door, stood up.
First the stairs and then the front door.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably not a good idea to go making that drink again.
At least for you.
For you as well. You left the bloody front door open and you were asleep.
But at least I didn't spew.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think honestly the most successful drink concoction that I've ever made, and I've mentioned it to you a few times, but still not given you the opportunity to try it yet, is Cinezade, which nothing's topped it yet. Not that I've had much opportunity to try anything else to top it, but basically that is just concocted of, it's fiery Jack, so it's basically just cinnamon flavored Jack Daniels. Mix that with Coke, and then top it off with just a little bit of Lucozade Orange. Give that a full mix up, and probably put some ice in there. Definitely put some ice in there just to give it that chill. Yes, definitely put ice in there. You want
drink.
It doesn't matter, right? You want that chill from the Coke and from the Lucozade.
If you want a chilled drink, you chill the glass before you put it.
Well, if you don't have time to chill the glass.
Well, if you don't have time to chill
plus,
the glass, get some
ice is only really
gonna
start watering it down if you leave it for too long. But that drink is nice to the point where you'll probably have a drunk within like 5 minutes, and you'll like kind of lose track of how much of it you're actually drinking. So, but yeah, that was probably the nicest thing that I've ever tried in terms of I've tried a few things, but nothing was ever quite as good as that. So that's the best one for us.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. So is there anything else you want to finish? Do you want to bring up that other topic that you mentioned earlier?
Which one was that? With Deathstroke?
Yeah. We'll finish off with that if you want. It's a bit of a random topic, but
there's a Deathstroke movie coming out?
Yeah. That was pretty much all we're going to say. Because you just to give you a bit of context for what you asked me earlier, because you said that he showed up in a trailer.
Yeah.
And he did not. It was basically Ben Affleck, who was directing the Batman movie at the time, was going to have Deathstroke be the main villain for that character, which was actually a really good idea. And I think a lot of people wanted that as well. I think, although a lot of people who are in the space in terms of like the comic book stuff and know the characters probably already liked Deathstroke as a character and already wanted to see him in the film at some point. I think TV shows like Arrow really helped push the popularity of that character because he was really big in like season 2 of Arrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically he decided he was going to make him Deathstroke, and he just so happened to cast that one guy that I'd been saying for probably 2 years was the perfect guy to cast as Deathstroke. I was like, I really hope they cast this guy as Deathstroke because he would be perfect. He just looks like the character, and he's a good actor as well, which is Joe Manganiello. So basically, there've been rumors that he was going to play for a while because he just so happened to be in the same location that Warner Brothers was shooting like that Justice League film at the time. So Ben Affleck was in that area. He had like a ponytail or something at the time, so everything lined up to suggest that he was going to play the character, and then it was revealed that he actually was the guy behind the mask. But things have changed since that point, because originally I think when Zack Snyder was doing Justice League, he was going to add a scene in with Deathstroke into that film,
right,
to establish him for the upcoming Batman film. But I think now that Joss Whedon's working on the Justice League film, I think they've taken out that scene just to try and condense the film down, so it's just more focused on the core story and doesn't have those extra little addition things to help build up the universe further. So it just purely focus on the one film itself. But yeah, basically that's the context, and I don't know how much I believe in it too much, because Warner Brothers is coming out quite a bit at the moment, saying that many characters are getting their own films. Joker's getting a film that's not connected to the DC universe whatsoever. He's also getting a film with Harley.
Will it be with Jared Leto?
No.
No?
No, because it's not connected to the universe whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
Joker's also getting a film with Harley Quinn, which is connected to the universe, the Jared Leto Joker.
Okay.
So there's 2 completely separate Joker films happening.
Okay.
Nightwing's getting a movie. Batgirl's getting a movie.
Wait. Do you reckon the Joker movie that isn't connected is going to be an origin story?
It is going to be an origin story, yes.
They shouldn't do it.
Which is weird. No, actually, I don't even know, because what they say is they want to go with. I keep hearing that they want to do an origin story, and then whenever you hear the casting rumors, you keep hearing older actors are getting cast as Joker. So I'm like, are you going to do an old Joker, or are you going to do a young Joker and how he became? Because the stuff we've heard is like stories about a young, like teenager who gets bullied because he can't stop smiling or something. He's got this disease that forces him to smile or some shit. And he gets bullied for it. And that's what ultimately makes him become the Joker or some shit like that.
That's kind of weak.
But, whatever. So yeah, there's those 2 Joker movies coming out. There's a Nightwing film happening. There's Batgirl film happening. Not to mention, you've got Aquaman happening next year. Flash doesn't have an official movie other than the Flashpoint that was announced, but there's no one really on board for that yet. Shazam is getting a film. There's... Oh, bloody hell, who else? Deathstroke now. There's been rumours of Deadshot getting a film.
Cyborg.
Cyborg's meant to be getting a film. There's like... I'm sure there's 2 others that I'm forgetting about.
No mention of Martian Manhunter yet.
No mention of him yet, but I think they'll probably save him for like a Justice League 2 or something. But it's basically like all these characters. Obviously, there's still a Batman movie that we're waiting for.
Yeah.
We still haven't had a sequel. I don't think they'll ever announce Superman 2 until after Justice League.
Yeah. But Superman supposed to be dead?
Well, that's why they'll never announce a Superman 2 until after Justice League when he comes back.
Yeah.
But there's like all these characters that we're saying are getting their own films, and at this rate, next year they're only going to push out 1 movie.
Yeah.
So right now, it's like, are they really going to have the time to do all that kind of film? All those films? Or are we talking like, this is what we're getting for the next 10 years? In which case, most of these films aren't going to be made, because things might change in that space of time.
Yeah, I reckon the superhero... what would you call this? Era movies? Or era of superhero movies is going to come to an end rather soon.
Well, that's a topic for another podcast, because I don't agree. But we'll save that one for next week. There you go, guys. Do us a favor and hit all those buttons.
Hit yourself.
Don't hit yourself.
Not too hard.
Unless you've got a button.
I think we already established in the last one they've got a button. Just stop playing with it like that, please.
All the buttons, guys. Much appreciated. Bye.
Bye.